another episode of What the Fuck Paranormal Chat with the Naked Bigfoot. I am your humble host, Mike the Naked Bigfoot. I want to thank everybody who's joining in tonight to see the live. I always extend my thanks to everybody who will be watching this on the replay, because tonight's episode is going to be pretty cool. Okay, for those, my avid viewers and avid followers, you all know that I always start off the first few minutes of each show with news, updates, and general bullshit. So, um, just to let everybody know. Hey, Chris. I know we have. Hey, Papa Joey. We have some crazy. Thanks to you guys for coming on tonight. I appreciate you a long time. We have some crazy storms that have moved in through northwestern Virginia that have made their way through central Virginia. And they've literally flattened the mountains. For those who do not know, I live in Blue Ridge, Virginia, nestled up against the Blue Ridge Mountains. And these storms were so powerful that we rarely lose power out here. We do lose power during the winter when we actually have a winter and we actually have snow on the ground. We occasionally lose power. From the weight of the snow taking down power lines and shit like that. But this storm was something else. It was flattening trees in our yards that we were watching. It didn't break any trees off, thank goodness, and the power finally went out. But we have a whole farm generator that literally runs every single thing on the farm. And a massive propane tank that powers it. So that was one of the first upgrades we made on this farm when I took it back over and start modernizing it. So far the first line of storms have moved through, but we've been probably have more storms that will be coming through. So I think they'll set the mood right for tonight's discussion, tonight's chat. If you see me stop and fuck up my feet, I'm sorry. One of the really interesting things about having kidney and liver failure, for those of you who do not know, is that your feet have a tendency to swell at night, and sometimes they itch. They itch to the point where they will keep you up all night long. So I pretty much slather on as much Benadryl anti-itch cream as I can, because I am itching the fuck right now. My feet are insanely itchy right now. It's driving me up a goddamn wall. Also, I just want to make mention before we start. I'm going to thank everybody who oh yeah, it does not end, Chris. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. It's the worst thing about it is the itching. Is I can deal with any part of my body being swollen, but if you fucking throw itching on top of it, that just sucks ass in new ways. The episode that I did last week, Raising the Dead, has reached nearly 300 views. That just boggles my mind. That so many people are finding that episode interesting. I mean, fuck, that's that's got more views than I have people subscribed to the channel. So I want to thank everybody out there, Chris, Papa Joey, or show anybody that might be missing, Vodka Vamp, everybody else. Hey, Sherry and Sherry. Thanks, Sherry too. Thank everybody who has mentioned me or linked to my show or promoted my show indirectly or directly. I really do appreciate it. It's a small and intimate show that I enjoy doing, but I do appreciate everybody who has supported me in my efforts to tell these stories. So, love you. Alrighty. Fuck, there's something stuck to my screen. Okay, let's start tonight's show. We're going to start off, of course, with the obligatory starting, for those who don't know how I run my show. We just finished going over the news of the day. Now I'm going to give you my disclaimers for the show tonight before we start formally. The views and opinions and assertions made on the show by your humble host, me, the Naked Bigfoot, are solely those of my own. I do not wish to influence, persuade, or dissuade anybody out there who is watching the show. But, if you happen to leave my show with an intense curiosity about the just amazing and magical world around us, and you have the need to go out and see the world and experience the crazy insaneness that is our world, I feel like that I have done my job. But if you do go out to explore this magical, paranormal, preternatural, supernatural world around us, I do ask that you do it sanely and safely. Do not use me as a model of proper behavior with doing investigations or research. I readily admit that in my earlier in my youth, when I was starting out, and I was the stories that you hear me tell, I did a lot of crazy, reckless shit, and I do not encourage anybody to go out there and do that. So do your explorations and your investigations insanely. By some twist of fate, I was able to survive all of mine. And I don't want to read in the paper or see on the news anytime that anybody that I know has gone out and followed my example and did something unsafe or something stupid and got themselves fucked up by it. Okay. Oh, and that leads me to my next disclaimer. If you are easily offended by naughty words, four-letter words, filthiness in general, or by graphic imagery, then and you don't wish to have your children exposed to naughty language, then please, please, please ask them to leave the room. Get your kids, go to bed, send them to bed. That's one of the reasons why we do this show at 9 o'clock at night. But if you cannot do that, and you still don't wish to expose them to the naughty words, but want to watch my show, please wear headphones, because I guarantee you, as you've already heard, I will drop the F-bomb frequently and often, along with other profanities. It is part of my vernacular. I do not do it to attract attention or be sensational. I do it because it's part of, like I said, part of my vernacular. It comes out of my mouth quite easily and readily. Instead of using exclamation points, I usually punctuate it with a bad word like fuck or shit or damn. Also, if you are new to the show, we do play a drinking game on my show. Every time you hear me say, that's a story for another day, or that's a story for another time, or some iteration of that phrase, please take a drink, sip, or shot of your adult beverage of choice. If you do not imbibe adult beverages and wish to play the drinking game tonight, then by all means take a sip of your tea, your water, your juice, or soda of your choice. Now, if you are indulging in adult beverages tonight, I ask that you do so safely and sanely as well. Do not drink and drive. Do not drink and drive, because I guarantee you by the end of tonight's show, you will be drunk as fuck. Alrighty. That's enough of that. So, on with the show. Okay, guys. I was actually looking forward to doing this because I know I've done a number of shows that, in the beginning, if you've been following, the order in which I do these shows, I usually talk about, my shows usually are creature features, or ghost features, or dealing with something scary or supernatural that's out there. But then I went into the more metaphysical world, for a bit, and now we're back to what I enjoy talking about and what got me interested in the supernatural world in general, and that's supernatural and paranormal creatures. And one thing that I've always been fascinated by ever since they first came on the scene have been creepypastas. For those who do not know what a creepypasta is, most of you do know. They are horror stories and legends that are done online, that are written online and submitted online in various websites, pages, rooms, Reddit. They appear everywhere. Um, and they first started appearing, as soon as there was an internet that was widely available to people. That people start doing internet legends and telling stories of on the internet of monsters, killers, beasts, all sorts of strange and frightening supernatural things. But at the time, they were all stories. They were made up. They came from the imagination of the author of the stories. Um, these stories gave rise to a pantheon, um, or a creepypasta bestiary of popular uh, creatures. And well, some creepypastas they created their own. Yeah, Slenderman was one of them. I'm gonna touch on Slenderman tonight. Slenderman was one of them that was created. He's probably one of the more famous ones out there. Some of the big ones that are still out there that people still talk about uh, um, are Slenderman, the Rake, which is a creepypasta cryptid. Um, Slenderman, not a cryptid, but a creepypasta paranormal entity. Super Horror Show, good to have you on tonight. I know that Super Horror Show, he is a creepypasta. And please correct me if I'm wrong, but Super Horror Show is a huge creepypasta fan. He's done a lot of animations on creepypastas, which have been really fucking amazing. He's animated all kinds of creepypasta legends that he's gleaned from the internet, which is so you really need to check it out. He's really brought to life a lot of these characters in really unique and fun ways, and in horrifying ways. Well, back to some more of the more popular ones. Slenderman, for example. An iteration of Slenderman. If anybody who knows about Marble Hornets, which was a YouTube movie series done in a found footage format. I know Super Horror Show is a Marble Hornets fan as well. I love Marble Hornets. Marble Hornets still exists, so if you guys want to go watch some of their stories, you really need to go watch it. It's really amazing. Um, really scary shit that just every episode gets the dread builds in every episode that you watch of Marble Hornets. And it's some scary shit they created, but that's what creepypasta does. That's what a good creepypasta does. It's supposed to scare the shit out of you. um give you nightmares. You've got, and again, Slenderman being one of the more famous. You had that, it bled into our culture. You've got those two girls who did the Slenderman, who tried to kill one of their friends to sacrifice him to Slenderman. Um, you've had Slenderman movies made, mainstream movies that were made. All kinds of really great independent Slenderman based stories that were done. Um, he's become quite. He's leapt from the pages of the creepypastas into mainstream thought and society. Now that's important. I want you to think about this. I'm gonna put that out there right now, but we're gonna go back and revisit it in just a second. Slenderman was one of the first ones to leap from creepypastas into the mainstream thought. Um, Especially after those two little girls try to kill their best friend because Slenderman, they wanted to appease Slenderman and sacrifice their best friend to Slenderman. Luckily, they did not succeed, and they are still fucking locked up. Thank God. Um, that's an extreme case of it. You've got other things like I mentioned before, you got the Rake, who has gained a great deal of popularity with cryptid and paranormal investigators. Um, Again, the Rake was a creepypasta cryptid that was created um, from stories and pictures that people fabricated to show. But the Rake, has officially left again the pages of creepypastas and is now, in mainstream thought. There are not many paranormal and cryptid people out there that if you mention the Rake to them, that they wouldn't know what the Rake was. It's become more, much like Slenderman, much more mainstream and popular. One that's gaining more popularity has been Siren Head. Um, Siren Head, I personally find fascinating, living out here in the mountains like I do. That Siren Man is beginning to leave the creepypasta pages and find its way into mainstream again thought. And again, notice how I'm phrasing this. It's going into mainstream thought and mainstream discussions, when mainstream in the if there's such a thing, which I think there is such a thing, as mainstream paranormal and supernatural discussions. Now, I want to mention this, and I'm going to tell you more about this. Towards the end of the show, we're going to talk about something that I did on Twitter. I wanted to do my own creepypasta experiment. And I'm just going to mention it before I go into it, because I got a little bit more to say about creepypastas in general, and and whether or not they are real. Whether or not these creatures have found life in our world and now walk in our world and exist in our world. Um, I have to mention Jeff the Killer too. Jeff the Killer has influenced a lot of mainstream Hollywood movies that are out there too, and a lot of artists out there. Jeff the Killer is probably becoming one of my favorite creepypastas out there that has found mainstream fun too. But real quick, they're one of the very first internet legends before anybody ever uttered the word creepypasta or called it a creepypasta. One of the very first internet legends that ever existed came about during the birth of the internet, when it became popular. And back then, when they had chat rooms and people would send direct messages using AOL, shit like that. They would message each other and they'd email each other. One of the very first ones that ever came to being was the Smile Dog. I loved the birth of, and I'm going to talk about this more towards the end, but the origin of the Smile Dog is been preying on my mind lately, and I decided to conduct an experiment on Twitter with the Smile Dog. And I'll tell you all more about that later, um, because it really did shit out of me. What I did, shit happened. Okay, well, let's put it right there, and I'll give you more details about it later. Shit happened with Smile Dog. I love Smile Dog. um, Sorry, I missed that, Sherry. I was trying to look at it. I missed it. Okay. You probably... Chris, you need to look on Twitter tonight, on some of my posts tonight, because I posted the Smile Dog again tonight on Twitter. For those who have never seen a picture, the picture, Smile Dog picture, that's the internet legend. It's the Smile Dog picture. Um, it is on. I did post it on Twitter on my feed. I have posted it multiple times on Twitter as part of my experiment. So if you have not seen it, I do ask that if you want to see it, and after I tell you about the legend of Smile Dog, you may not want to go and find it and see it. um, my experience, I wanted to. I'll have to show you. Again, it's on my site. It's on my Voodoo Man 3 on Twitter. Or you can go on Twitter and look up Mike the Naked Bigfoot. Um, and you'll see some of my posts about, if you go to the media section, you'll see some of my posts about Smile Dog. Um, I don't you I did a hashtag Smile Dog one time too, so you can search hashtag Smile Dog on Twitter as well to look up some of my posts. I If you do it, I don't want you to go look at it until after you hear what I did first. Okay, so if you can hold off on it, hold off on it. But if you have to go look at it, go look at it. But Smile Dog is I probably shouldn't have done it, but I did it. Oh shit. Yeah, I did a bad thing. I know Smile Dog is when you hear about Smile Dog's absolutely terrifying. Absolutely. It's absurd at first and terrifying later. It's absurdly terrifying. Smile Dog is amazing, but that is true about most creepypastas. They're absurdly terrifying. There's just enough. It feels like there's just enough truth with creepypastas. There's just enough truth with people who write creepypastas and people who continue to write about to add to the legend in the creepypastas. Um, they do so with enough truth um, to make you begin to believe that there's a good chance this shit's real. You've heard me talk about tulpas and thought forms and the power of belief, that believing in something, when you get enough people believing in something and creating enough energy with that belief, that there are things that exist in our spirit world, nameless, formless spirits who wish to interact in our world, physically in our world, um, sometimes for the good, sometimes for bad, um, that they, when enough of this energy has been produced, they can take that energy and assume the form of that belief, of what's being believed in. For instance, Slenderman. Um, if enough people have believed, enough people have written about them, and again, there's that little touch of truth in these stories, uh, where people begin to believe that it's real. Now, remember, now let me stop for a second. You may think, oh, people believe in that shit. People believe an internet legend or internet story. That's absurd. That's crazy. Well, I want you to think about the Blair Witch Project, everyone. Okay? The Blair Witch Project is probably one of the most famous found footage horror movies, the most successful found footage horror movies out there. Before the Blair Witch Project, the movie appeared in the theaters, the guys at Haxon Films, the people who did the movie, they did a media blitz, um, both videos and written media and interviews, to where they treat it like the events that happened in the Blair Witch. They treated the events like it was something real, like they were real news stories, investigations. They did an amazing job of bringing the Blair Witch to life. And in doing so, a lot of people, when they went to go see the Blair Witch after seeing all this media that was out there, um, they walked away from the movie believing that this shit was real, that it really did happen, because the studio did such an amazing job of creating this world uh, with just enough truth to make you believe in it. They believe that these kids went to the woods and they were gone, and this movie was all they were able to find of them, And the Blair Witch existed. And they succumbed to the Blair Witch. There are still people out there who believe that the Blair Witch Project is a fucking documentary, a real, life documentary, that this shit really did happen. Um, and that's the power of belief. And it's the power of. Now, I have to quote Emily Dickinson here. Um, I love Emily Dickinson, by the way, for those who don't know. I'm a huge Emily Dickinson fan. Used to teach, so Emily Dickinson was one of my favorite poets to teach. Uh, One of my favorite lines from one of her, she's used it several times in many poetry and many of her poems. She said, "Tell the truth, but tell it slant, for it is a small amount of doubt that can breed the best of truth. Tell the truth, but tell it slant." You can tell a story that's completely fiction, but when you add that element of truth, you slant the fiction with an element of truth. Um, you plant a seed in a person's subconscious that they begin to think that it's real. This is real. The more they're exposed to it, the more the seed grows, the more the seed germinates until they believe that it exists. Now, this is true with the creepypastas. The people who wrote these stories and started these legends, they told it in such a way to where they planted that seed, that kernel of truth at the center of this fiction. And that more people continue to add to the story. More people begin to come in and add to the story as well. That seed began to germinate and began to grow, and people began to believe in these stories, that these stories were true, that Slenderman was real, that Slenderman could stalk you, could haunt you, could take you away, make you disappear. That Jeff the Killer could appear over your bed with his burned off eyelids, and right before he stabbed you to death in your bed, he would look at you and say, "Go to sleep." That Siren head would lure you into the woods or lure you into a field with sounds emitted from the speakers on its head, and that it would devour you or make you disappear forever. That the Rake was a psychic and physical predator that would stalk you in the woods, and if you managed to get away from them, he would come to your house, and if he didn't kill you, he would drive you insane as he crawled in through your window and came out from underneath your bed. Enough people began to believe in these stories and in these creatures, these created creatures, that I do believe enough energy was produced and is continuing to be produced to allow them to come to life. Think of them as a Frankenstein. Frankenstein's monster was created from bits and pieces of different people, but they all came together to have this, to create one monster that lived, that it's alive. Same thing with the creepypastas and the stories, like again the Slenderman stories. All these bits and pieces of stories, of these bits and pieces of lore that were posted. People Slenderman started off as it was a picture contest to make a creepy picture. And a guy doctored some pictures to put Slenderman in these different pictures and captioned them in strange and terrifying ways. And it blew up from there because people began to believe. And these bits and pieces of lore, these body parts that were being written and created online, had enough energy to where they could be gathered together to create A creepy pasta Frankenstein's monster that was able to exist and walk in our world. Um, if you Google there are a lot and I do mean a lot, of people who have videos, who get videos of fantastic things that happen around us. And there are more and more videos that are appearing where you can start to see these creatures. Because nowadays everybody has a video camera because they have a phone. So everybody is their own can make their own documentaries of strange and unusual things just by having their phone with them. And they're beginning to see these creatures that have leapt from the pages and the ideas of these creepypastas that are beginning to appear in our world. People are starting to see in the woods variations of the Slenderman, something that looks like Slenderman. And when they post it online, they're adding to the lore and they're giving more power to it to where it can exist longer in our world. The same thing with the Rake. People are starting to see the Rake more than they're seeing Bigfoot, for cat's sake. You know? They're beginning to experience the Rake more and have more video evidence and photographic evidence of this creature out there hunting us from the woods and from abandoned locations. People are starting to hear things in the woods that they could only attribute it to the stories that were told about with people that fictionally encountered Siren Head. But in reality, they're starting to hear those sounds emanating from the woods that were once described in the pages of creepypastas. So to answer the question that I posed in the very beginning, with the very title of tonight's chat, are creepypasta creatures real? I fucking believe that they are. I truly believe that they are. They are walking amongst us now. But again, much like tulpas and thought forms, as the story changes and evolves, the entities that have assumed physical form in our world have to obey these new rules. They have to evolve and change as well. So as the story changes, they change. But as I've noticed, the stories aren't changing for the better. They're not turning these creatures, these things, into unicorns and happy rainbows. They're making them more terrible and more terrifying. So people are beginning to have more terrible and more terrifying experiences with them in the real world. And you cannot destroy a thought. You cannot destroy an idea. Especially, now back in the day, the ideas and thoughts had to be written down in books. But these thoughts and ideas, these stories, have been put on the internet. And they are now shared by millions, billions of people across the world. So there's truly no way of ever getting rid of them, of never ending them, never making them disappear. Because there's no way to make the internet stop. It's too late for that. The genie has been let out of the proverbial bottle now. And these things are here to exist in our world forever. I believe you can communicate with them. I don't think they're mindless creations. I think they have to obey the rules. Good question, Chris. They have to obey the rules that have been set forth in these creepypastas and that have been written about them. They have to obey those rules. They have to work within the parameters that have been created in these rules. They don't act. These rules are the basis of their nature, and they have to act within their nature. So as the rules change online, as the story changes online, their nature changes in our reality. And we're kind of stuck with it now, for good or for bad. Um, they're becoming more pervasive than even the stories about the cryptids that we have in our world, like Mothman. Again, with Bigfoot, um, you name it. People are putting these creepypasta cryptids and creepypasta creatures in the now in the same category as these very famous beings that have been with us for centuries. So now they've become part of our vernacular. They've become part of our world, and for good or for bad. I personally would look forward. I would love to live another 100 years to see how these things would develop even further, how they would evolve even further. Um, because again, they owe their existence to an ever evolving narrative online. And I would love to see how that narrative changes. Alrighty. Let me talk about something that I did. I call it the Smile Dog Experiment. Everybody's been waiting for me to talk about the Smile Dog Experiment. I'm kind of excited about the Smile Dog Experiment personally. Um, I kept trying to figure out a way that I could experience what I was just talking about. Um, Experience this new reality that's been born from these creepypastas. And one of the oldest stories that I found, and it's quite possibly one of the very first creepypastas that ever existed, uh, was that of Smile Dog, also known as Smile.jpg. That's what the name was originally, and it evolved into Smile Dog. Okay, what is Smile Dog? Um, Back when the internet was created, Al Gore, had to get that in there. There was and this is the story, that someone scanned in a Polaroid of this dog, that its face was illuminated from the flash of the camera, of the Polaroid camera. And it had a very large grin on its face and very sharp human teeth in its mouth. And by all accounts, it was a Siberian Husky. And that when people looked around the picture, around the Polaroid picture that was scanned in, then they could see this hand reaching out through the picture, as if to tell you to come on in, motioning for you to come in. It's a very, very creepy ass picture. Well, I found the picture. The picture still exists. It still gets circulated. Well, when it was first circulated, what would happen was, and back in the day, for those who remember this, who are old enough to remember this, chain letters, when people would receive chain letters in the mail, that they would have to take a chain letter. And chain letters also appeared in email too, that they would get a letter saying they would either get incredibly good luck or incredibly bad luck if they either did or did not send the chain letter or chain email to like 20 other people to keep the chain going. Well, the same thing happened with Smile Dog. People would see the picture, would show up in their email or in their direct messaging box on, I'm going to say AOL, America Online. For those who don't know what that is, you'll have to look it up. Or it would appear, in their inbox, and they would open it up. And they would look at the picture, and the picture would be so disarming and so disturbing that when they slept at night, and they would begin to dream at night, they would dream, most pleasant dream in the world. The dream would start off incredibly pleasant, and then this dog would come out of nowhere in their dream. And begin to literally fuck up their dream and turn their dream into a nightmare. And it would be this Smile Dog that would have this dog that they saw in the picture with a big grin on its face with human teeth. It would come in and communicate with them and terrorize them in their dreams. It would go on for a few nights where the smile dog would appear in your dreams and terrorize you, and you trying to drive you insane. And some accounts vary, but sometimes day 6, you would receive another email or another message with, again, a picture of the smile dog on there, the same picture. Um, but there would, instead of just being the picture, it would say, share the word, share the good word, share the good news, something along those sort of lines. And as soon as they received that, the day that they received it, when they'd go home and go to bed, the smile dog would appear one last time in their dreams and would tell them that if you want me to stop and you want your pleasant dreams to continue and you don't want to be driven insane, you will share that last email with as many people as you can. If you chose to not do it, um, according to the legends and according to the stories, people would go insane and they would commit suicide in real life. The smile dog would not stop until they killed themselves. Now, they went ahead and shared that new email they received or that new message they received. Um, the smile dog would leave them alone. They would pretty much, continue to send the spirit of this dog digitally to more people, and it would continue to do what it does. Well, I found that absolutely intriguing. Um, so, yeah, I did it. I decided to post the picture on Twitter multiple times. Just in the beginning, just the picture. I'd just post the picture, um, and I would put the caption, "Share the good news," um, or "Share the good word." I would post on there. You found what I did. Um, I did it over a few days that I did it. I wanted to see, you know, if it was real, if the smell dog was real. It's a creepy ass fucking picture. You need to go to my Twitter account and look it up. It's a creepy ass picture, but only do so if you dare and remember the rules with dealing with smell dog. That's going to be important in a few minutes. I'm going to tell you what. When I started doing it, I really did have fucking nightmares about that dog. That dog scared the ever living shit out of me. I woke up literally in my bed thinking that it was sitting at the edge of my bed smiling at me. And I woke up just fucking cold sweats, mouth dry, completely terrified. Had no reason. I didn't understand why I was so fucking scared. But right when I sat up in bed, I swear that in this dark ass room when the lights are out, that I saw that damn dog sitting on my bed, staring at me with that grin on his face and its human teeth. And I thought, oh, what the fuck did I do to myself this time? um, Now, this is before I start sharing the picture on Twitter. I first pulled the picture up. I found the picture. I Googled the picture and found the original Smile Dog picture, which is apparently the original Polaroid that was scanned in and shared with people. And it was like day 5 or day 6 when I started doing this stuff. When I started doing this shit. Um, Again, except for this time, I didn't wake up scared. It felt like I woke up and I knew I wasn't alone in the room. I'm not used to that feeling, but it was something in the room with me, alien, something just not quite right that was in the room. And at the edge of my bed again, I just saw. God, you remember Alice in Wonderland, the Cheshire Cat? And sometimes all you would see of a Cheshire Cat was a grin on its face and nothing but darkness around it while it was in a tree. Well, that's what the fuck I saw at the edge of my bed. It was a huge pair of teeth, mouth full of human-like teeth, and a shadow around these teeth that looked vaguely like a dog. And I heard something very quietly say, "You know what to do." And I went, "Oh, fuck." I have called up Smile Dog. Fucking called up Smile Dog. And I said, "Okay, I wanted this. I did this. I wanted this." Okay, I called up Smile Dog. And I was going to have to play by Smile Dog's rules. Because Smile Dog apparently is real. So I had to go by the rules of Smile Dog. So I had to post it where other people could experience Smile Dog, as many people as possible. So I started posting it on Twitter. I got some very interesting responses from people that that sent me private messages about that. That messaged me about those pictures, asking me what the fuck was that? I can't get that picture out of my head. What do you mean by share the good news, share the good word? Um, Pass it along. What did you mean by that? Because that thing is freaking. That picture is freaking me the fuck out. I got so many people. My inbox. I know I had at least 100 different people that saw the picture who contacted me about the picture, and I knew then that they were experiencing Smile Dog. So I told them what to do with Smile Dog. I had a few people cuss me out. I actually lost a bunch of lost on Twitter. Some people unfollowed me when they found out what I did. They got mad at me and they unfollowed me. I lost a lot of, not a lot. I lost a good number of people. But most people took it in stride, told me I was full of shit. Um, but they would go ahead and do it. They would post Smile Dog on their and pass Smile Dog along. So they would, whatever they were experiencing, they would stop experiencing. Um, that was my Smile Dog experiment to see if Smile Dog was real. Smile Dog is fucking real, and a lot of I think the um, Smile Dog has been dormant, I believe, for quite some time. Like I said, Smile Dog has never been a very popular creepypasta story. It used to be back in the day, back when it first started, but again, it didn't become popular again until I decided to give it energy and start to make it popular again. And I took the lid off that kettle. I let Smile Dog back out into the world. Except for now, Smile Dog is in a new world. Smile Dog is in the Twitterverse now. Is being circulated in the Twitterverse now. I'm going to keep monitoring it and hopefully won't lose any more people who follow me or get cussed out by any more people because of what I did. Um, yeah, one person really called me everything but a child of God when I told them what I did. They were not happy with me at all about doing that about posting that on there. But apparently a lot of people experienced Smile Dog because of what I did. And I've brought Smile Dog back to life, so to speak. Now I'm really curious. Now that I've done this, I know it was fucking dirty of me to do. I know it was. But god damn it, I wanted to know if it was real. I wanted to know if it could be real. I wanted to be able to experience something that was real. And this shit was real. Smile Dog's real. Smile Dog's a real thing. But now I want to see. Now that Smile Dog is in the Twitterverse, how Smile Dog's story is going to change and how Smile Dog is going to evolve. Because to the best of my knowledge, Smile Dog is probably the only creepypasta legend that is currently active on Twitter. Because I injected him into Twitter. I did it. Yeah, I fucking did it. I'm such an asshole. I don't feel guilty about it. Because I know Elon Musk is gonna get me. I follow Elon Musk. I swear to God, if Elon Musk experiences Smile Dog and fucking private messages me and lays me out, I'll be happy to tell him. But just know this: for anybody who experiences Smile Dog, just obey the rules of Smile Dog, the rules of the story. of Smile Dog, and you'll be okay. If you don't obey the rules of Smile Dog, of the story of Smile Dog, then you will more than likely be driven insane and fucking probably harm yourself in some way. And I don't want to see that I don't want to see happen. I would rather see you pass Smile Dog along. I want to see Smile Dog evolve. Um, I want to see Smile Dog become something as powerful as the Rake, as the Slenderman, as Jeff the Killer, as Siren Head, as the Shy Guy. Um, I want to see if he becomes part of our reality like they are now. That he can exist in our reality like they do now. And walk amongst us like they do now. Um, Again, I don't have any apologies for what I did. But if you're curious about Smile Dog, and if you're on Twitter, I would like, and you wish to have the Smile Dog experience, just remember to obey the rules of Smile Dog. Feel free to look up my posts on Smile Dog, because all you have to do is have it and to see it. And then you are part of Smile Dog. Once you see the picture, you become part of Smile Dog's story. And you've got to obey the rules of that story. I know. I'm like King Dick for doing that. But that's a story for another day. Well, guys, I'm a call it a night a little bit earlier than normal. I know I didn't take it right up to the hour, but I'm tired, and we still haven't had power restored on the mountains. Um, Spread the word. Oh God, what have I done? Again, I have no regrets. That is my contribution to the world of the digital paranormal. Smile Dog, bringing Smile Dog back with a vengeance. Um, you're welcome, Twitter. um, but if you wish to become a part, well, it wouldn't be the first time I've had people show up at the farm with pitchforks and torches. So. But my experiment, I believe, was a success. But it's one of those experiments that there's no ending to the experiment. Once you start it, it takes a life of its own. Like I said, Smile Dog has been unleashed now on Twitter, and Smile Dog ain't going anywhere. So Smile Dog is going to keep gaining power and become stronger than ever. And it's my fault. I did it. Alrighty, guys. Let's call it an end for the night. I want to thank everybody who came on tonight. I want to thank everybody who watched the live. I want to thank everybody who watches the replay. Um, if you learned a little something tonight, that is fucking awesome. If you like what you watched tonight, please hit the like button. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Again, you can follow me. I'm not sure if you want to now or not, but you can follow me on Twitter at VoodooMan3, or you can look me up on Twitter under Mike the Naked Bigfoot. I do follow back. Now, if you do decide to follow me, just be warned that I do dumb shit like the Smile Dog experiment. I did that. That there's a good chance that you might be a part of another one of my little experiments. So you'll have to forgive me. But I want to thank everybody again. I've been playing the drinking game. I know I did not say the magical phrase multiple times tonight. I said it maybe once or twice. So you probably have a good buzz going on. So do not drink and drive. Do not drink and drive. Again, I want to thank everybody for coming on tonight. I want to thank everybody who watches the replay later on. Again, like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Leave comments. I do accept constructive criticism. I do follow constructive criticism. It helps me make better shows. Helps me make more interesting. Help me talk about more interesting things. If there's something you want me to talk about, please leave it in the comments. I'll try to put it in. Again, have a fantastic night. Look forward to seeing you all again on the next show. Thank you all again for watching What the Fuck Paranormal Chat with the Naked Bigfoot. This is your humble host, Mike the Naked Bigfoot, wishing you all a fantastic night.